I'm here in Red's gym in Oldham, about to take you through my entire leg day. It's my first leg day, my first proper leg day back after finishing my powerlifting split last week. But without further ado, let's get stuck into today's leg day. First exercise is going to be back squats.
Whether you're at a family reunion or hanging out before the show, have some give with everything. It'll make you talk real low.
I'm currently on 160 kg. I've just completed set number 1. We're going to see if we can push that up by set number 2 and 3. So you'll notice when I do back squats, I use what's called a low bar technique, which is basically just positioning the bar a little bit further down your back. So rather than being sitting on the top of your traps, it's placed across your rear delt. But the problem with that is that can cause a lot more flexion in your wrist. So something that I've started using for back squats, which I never thought I would, is actually a set of wrist straps, just to, I guess, put a bit of a buffer between that flexion that occurs and just take a little bit of strain off the wrists. We are currently on set number 3 of back squats. So set number 1 was 160 for 5. Set number 2 was 162.5 for 5. And set number 3, we're going to try to push the boat out a little bit and go for 165 for 5. Let's go. Oh. As an almost mitigation against not truly pushing myself to the degree that I'm capable of pushing myself, I'll always aim to preferably increase the weight as I progress from one set to the next. Because had I just decided that 160 was challenging enough for that first set of back squats, I would have stayed at 160 for 5 reps for the 3 sets. And your body has a funny way, well, you have a funny way of almost making weight that's not as difficult as it could be, or that's not precisely at your breaking point with respect to your strength. We almost have a tendency to make weight that's not sufficiently challenging more challenging than it actually is by mentally preparing ourselves to hit, let's say in this case, 160 for 5 repetitions. That had I decided to load 160 for set 2 and set 3, I would have ended up feeling the same subjective level of difficulty, if that makes sense, with 160 as opposed to what I ended up doing, which was set 2, 162.5, and then I increased it again to 165 for 5. Sometimes you'll get it wrong. Sometimes you'll load the weight on and you will only be able to perform less repetitions than you thought, but it's all a learning experience. At least if that happens, you know what your limit is. Whereas I just think it's a healthy mindset for people to get into, to avoid being that person who comes into the gym, goes through the motions, you know, doing their sets of 10 to 12 for every single fucking set that they do, never really pushing the boundaries of what they're capable of, and then getting upset that they're not making the results that they thought they'd be capable of. And like, if you want to get deeper on it, that's really where growth occurs. That's what separates people like me from, I hope not, but people like you who might come into the gym every single day and not see a change in your physique from 1 week to the next, 1 month to the next, 1 year to the next. You know, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to get comfortable pushing yourself to the point where you're not even sure you're going to make that next repetition. But if you do, you can walk away from that session knowing that you inflicted a sufficient stimulus to get stronger the next time you're in there. Exercise number 2, Smith machine Bulgarian split squats. I can, but just for the purpose of this video, I can't remember the last time that I did like dumbbell split squats. There's just something about them. Yes, they're brutal, but they're just fucking annoying. Whenever I am doing split squats, which is incredibly rare these days, I will do a Smith machine split squat. ripping as I'm doing that. To be honest, I'm not impressed with my performance. I should be able to do a lot more than 5 repetitions, but I guess it's a consequence of not training it in fucking ages. I'd love to know if you were to attribute the same level of soreness, muscle soreness that is, to each muscle group, which one would be worst? Because I know for a fact that my arse is going to be killing me for about the next week. Whereas I did have bicep soreness for the first time in probably 6+ months the other day, and that was extremely fucking painful, because you wouldn't think the amount of times that your arm is just in this position. And every time that it was almost as if it was doing another set of bicep curls, so it was pretty bad. I'd say it's difficult to beat calf soreness, which is why I don't train calves anymore. Like you can't even fully bend your legs, so if you overdo it on calves, you're gonna be fucked for at least a week. But glutes is pretty bad, I guess quads is pretty bad. It's all pretty fucking shit, to be honest with you. It's inevitable for me after this session. I can already feel the consequences of not training in about 3 months. Pro tip, on split squats or like lunges or anything that's single leg, take 30 seconds rest in between, because if you go straight into the second leg without resting after the first leg, cardiovascularly you're going to be fatigued, and that's certainly going to have consequences for your performance on the second leg. Living by my own philosophy there, set 1, I got 5 reps on each leg. Set 2, I'm just after doing 6 reps on the right leg. I'm going to try and match that on the left one. My fucking arse. See, Red's gym know the story. 1 more rep. So I've done 5 reps in set 1, 6 reps, set 2. The goal for this third and final set is going to be to hit 7 reps per leg. Let's go. Two more. Success. Go. There we go. Third exercise is leg extensions. Now, I'm in a fortunate position where most leg extension machines that are used, including one that's as good as a Nautilus, I'm generally pretty strong, full stack, at least more than 10 or 12 repetitions. So I'm in a situation where I'm looking to make the maximum weight that I'm using a little bit more challenging. And if you find yourself in a situation where you're really competent on an exercise, in most cases it's going to be a machine exercise, there's things you can do, such as slowing down the speed at which you lower the repetitions. You can add in a pause at the top of the movement. So this is going to be when my legs are straight out in front of me. If you add in a pause to that, it's just going to challenge the muscle a little bit more. But generally tempo and manipulating the speed at which the weight is lowering down. Always be as powerful and as explosive as you can on the way up, so as you're kicking your legs out in front. But from this position, you can add a pause, you can slow down the speed at which you lower that. It's going to make it more challenging. You're not going to be able to do as many reps doing form like that than you would just flying through them. And that in most cases should allow you to get to failure in a reasonable amount of repetitions.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
I forgot to wear my belt for that set of 160, and I did a surprisingly easy set of 7 or 8 reps. So that only means one thing. With the belt, let's see what I can do with 180. I realised about halfway through that set that I fucking forgot to put my belt on. 6 reps, beltless, 180 kilo RDL. It's not bad. If I had done 3 sets, I'd be like, let's see how 200 goes with a belt, but that's not gonna happen, at least today. So it just struck me that I never gave an explanation into my selection of RDLs for hamstrings. So you want to do one movement, the biceps, one head of the hamstring, basically a hinge movement. So think deadlift, think Romanian deadlift, think 45-degree back extensions. These are all hinge movements, right? So they get a really, really good stretch on your hamstrings. And then to finish them off, you want to do a contraction-based movement. So basically, seated leg curl, lying leg curl. I just prefer seated leg curl, but you can also do lying leg curl. They basically target the hamstrings in the shortened range, which is very, very nerdy, very, very sciencey. You don't even need to know this level of detail, but just know that when you want to train hamstrings entirely, thoroughly, properly, that you do one curl-based movement and one hinge-based movement. Final exercise on the menu, and I'm not happy about it as much as you're not happy seeing it. Because it's a full leg day, we can't of course forget calves. This particular gym doesn't have a standing calf raise, which tends to be my preference, but that's okay, because almost every gym is going to have a makeshift standing calf raise variation in the form of a leg press. So basically push onto the ball of your foot, and then you're just going to flex your ankle to bring your toes towards your shins, and then once you get a nice stretch down the back of the calves, you're going to press through up onto the tip of your foot. Feel like Scott Herman fitness, no cap. Slow in the way down, explosive on the way up. I won't even lie, that was the pussiest attempt at a set of calf raise in my life. Wasn't really near failure. I'm not going to do any more sets. Although it's funny, it also applies to you if you haven't trained calves in ages. You know, it's not the best idea in the world to do 3 or 4 all-out sets to failure if it's your first time training calves, possibly ever. You know, you are not going to be able to walk, and I'm not exaggerating, for probably more than 10 days. So if you are training calves for the first time, which I assume is most of you, go conservative. You know, no more than 2 sets. You can take them to failure if you like, but just understand that even the smallest stimulus, after a long time not training them, is going to leave you with possibly the worst soreness of your life. Leg workout over and done with. And seriously, it's not often that I feel compelled to give a shout out to the gym that I went to, but Red's Gym in Oldham, I was initially looking up on fucking Google what are the best gyms to go to in and around Manchester, and the results were like fucking Nuffield Health, The Gym Group, Pure Gym, and I'm like, I want to go to a fucking gym, not a leisure centre. I felt compelled to, like, having got something for free, to at least, as a token of my appreciation for the free day pass, spend $5.50 on an iced latte protein coffee and 200 milligrams of caffeine in the form of an apple and elderflower energy drink. So combined, this is like 300 milligrams of caffeine after a leg workout. Anyone who's an OG on the channel knows how strongly I feel about post-workout caffeine. I really do think that it's the hack that a lot of people are missing to really maximize their gains. It's not. It's a one-way ticket. It's a fast-track ticket to a fucking heart attack, I assure you. God, touch wood. I hope that's not the case. But there's no wood in the car. I'm on a boner. Therefore,
the reason we're in Manchester is because Abby has a GYMSHARK event, and I feel like I'm tagging along, and I hope that they don't feel as though, and by they I mean the elites in GYMSHARK, don't feel, oh, God bless him, that misfortune. Sean must really want to be an athlete. Look at him straggling along to all of Abby's events. It's not like that, but it's just like, I don't know, it kind of is. It kind of is, okay? All right, guilty as charged. She's going to be wrapping up in about 30 minutes, so I better get my ass in gear. And by my ass in gear, I mean get this purple Toyota hybrid Yaris in gear to collect her. So with that, I best wrap up the fucking video like I intended to do 5 minutes ago. If you really want to do me a favor, number one would be to like the video. Right. Number two would be to share it with a friend who might enjoy my leg day excursions. If you wanted to binge watch on a couple of videos that I've uploaded, that would be pretty ace. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. I guess I'll see you in the next one. Take care.